I wish that people would treat me how they would treat a married registered nurse with 2.5 kids in Indiana. That's how I wish people would treat me.
What's up, YouTube? Poor Man Podcast back with another video. Today's video is going to be Bree Olson regrets doing porn. Okay, before I get into the video though, gotta do YouTube stuff. The goal is 65,000 subscribers by July. It's a crazy goal, it's a big goal, but it's my goal. I know way I'm gonna get to my goals if you give me the HBO special. Do you know what the HBO special is? That's the Help a Brother Out special. Alright, so go and help a brother out. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. I'm gonna give y'all a second to do that. Alright, now let's get to the video. Bree Olson says she regrets doing porn. Let's see what she got to say.
The words are something that I didn't expect to affect me in my everyday life. So when I go out, I feel as if I'm wearing slut across my forehead. The names that people have called me, it's as if you could take out those names and print them and put a ribbon around my whole body of all the names and things that people say to me on the internet. That's how I feel when I walk outside the door. I came from the adult industry, but then I transitioned into the mainstream industry, but I encountered a lot of issues with my transition and people not accepting me into the mainstream world.
Well,
So I have really gotten to the point where there are days to weeks at a time where I don't leave my house because I don't feel like facing the world of what has been created out there for me. I get so disappointed when I go out and I meet a new friend and then it turns out they don't want to be my friend anymore. Or I go out and, I don't know, I just hear things and or witness things. It's really easier for me just to stay inside my house and not put myself out there for hurt. That I gave up between $30,000 and $60,000 a month, and I could go back to porn today and still make that. I could go back to porn and make $20,000 just in 1 week if I wanted to this week, and I don't, because that's how much I don't want my photos on the internet. People treat me as if I am a pedophile. They don't treat me like an ex-sex worker. They treat me like I would somehow be damaging to children.
A simple question, like, how would you like to be treated?
Oh my gosh, I've never thought about that. God, that is so simple. I guess, I would,
I wish that people would treat me how they would treat a married registered nurse with 2.5 kids in Indiana. That's how I wish people would treat me.
This brings me to something that I've been thinking about over the last few days. It's a book that I'm reading. It's called Crime and Punishment. I'm not gonna bore y'all. I don't want to, drag this out. But let me explain this a little bit to y'all because I truly believe this affects people's lives more than they expect. And this book kind of opened my eyes to that idea. So it's a psychoanalysis book. It's a psychoanalysis book. So most of the dialogue is internal. So most of the dialogue is him assessing how he feels about situations. Okay. And pretty much the book, I'll just give y'all the overview of it. So there's a guy, he's a lawyer. He believes that life is hard on him, but he believes because it's him, and everybody always wants to believe because it's them, that they are good. Okay. So there's also a lady. Okay. She's a pawn. She's like a pawn lady. Okay. She's kind of like a loan shark. So people can come and pawn their stuff. She gives them pennies on the dollar, and if they can't bring the money back, she keeps the stuff that they give her. But so he devises this plan and convinces himself, because he is good and she is bad, that he is justified to kill her. Okay, so long story short, and this is a spoiler for anybody that wants to read the book, he ends up killing her. Okay, so he does decide to go through with the plan, but the rest of the book is kind of trying to assess how he feels about what he just did. And one interesting question that he posed before while he was thinking about committing the murder is he asked himself, why in a time where people are at their most vulnerable, when it matters the most, are people so sloppy? He's saying, like, why are so many murders sloppy? And he kind of decides that it's one of two things. It's either they commit the crime out of an emotional outburst, or they get so bombarded by the emotion of the crime that during the time they're doing it, they feel the regret already setting in, and they just wish that it would go away. Okay, they wish they could undo it, when the crime is taking place, and so afterwards, when they realize what they have done, they regret it so much so that they don't want anything to do with it. So long story short, going further in the book, he kills the lady, and all the good that he thought he could do, he never does. The money that he gets from killing the lady, he ends up burying it in a hole. He doesn't want to touch it. He doesn't want anything to remind him of his past life. This Bree, and I'm kind of relating it to this Bree Olson situation, the lady in the video, she's worth $5 million. But even though, like she said, I could go back and make 20 grand, 30 grand a month, that's not enough for her, because she feels like the way she got the money wasn't in her moral boundaries. Even though she was younger when she probably made those decisions, as she got older, she grew to regret those decisions. Now, it may not be on the same level as the main character in the book that I'm talking about, but as the main character goes throughout the book, you see him battling with the regret, so much so that he's paranoid with any interaction that he has with other human beings. And it gets to the point where he just wants to be normal. Okay, he just wishes that it was over. He wishes it never happened, and he wants some way to pay back, or some way to forgive himself, or some way for society to forgive him, because he can't deal with the internal guilt of going against his moral compass and committing a crime he thought he was able to commit. But once he committed the crime, he realized it's very different when you do something that you may regret. Now, of course, it might be a reach, because this is a very different situation. I might be boring y'all with this. I know this, but I'm just kind of comparing the two, and I've been wondering about that. Like, how many people do things that they regret so bad that they never forgive themselves, and they live a life running away from that regret. So, like, I'll hear a lot of times, like, girls who may have done OnlyFans, or girls who may have done these phases, and how much is the parading the purses? How much is the trying to show that they're happy is just them trying to depress the regret that they may feel from previous decisions? And regret is completely normal, by the way. And if you don't feel regret for something that's going against your moral compass, you're a sociopath. Okay, so unless these women are either they don't believe that it's in their moral compass, or they're sociopaths, they probably do regret it to some degree. So I just, it was just an idea that I'm putting out there. But let's continue the video. I know that's probably way too long. Let's continue the video.
How would that change your life if they treated you that way?
I would be so happy. I don't know. I never even thought about that before. But it'll never happen. That's probably why I don't think about it. I learned that there are some things that no matter how open-minded you are, other people will never be, and that you shouldn't do. And I send a very strong message to young girls: don't do porn, because as much I understand it, you want to embrace your sexuality, you want to say screw the man, screw whatever, like I can do what I want with my body, but you're just gonna have a life of crap in front of you, and dealing with people and
companies.
It matters. It
And,
matters.
there's
Keeping your dignity
Companies
matters.
are allowed to turn you down for work because of anything they want, and they have morality clauses. You can never work with children after you do
Bingo.
porn. You can never work in a medical field after you do porn. And these are things that teenage girls don't think about. You think that you're a teenager, it's fun, you're making money, and that's the truth. It is, and there's nothing wrong with porn, but how people treat you for the rest of your life, it's not worth it.
I definitely think that it's time for people to respect sex workers and respect women in total. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that wasn't the best way to end that there. She shouldn't have ended it like that. Because for at the end, I was kind of like, okay, she's apologizing. She's putting out the message for other young ladies to not follow the same path. And now she's kind of blaming society for her regret. And that's what tends to happen. A lot of people don't get that it's an internal feeling. And society may play a small part in it, but most of it's probably because you just regret it. Because it's something you're ashamed of, which is okay. And I'm happy Kevin Samuels, and this is on another note, this is more on the branding tip of it and kind of the investing side of having $5 million from doing pornography. I'm happy Kevin Samuels came on and talked to the OnlyFans girls and told them that you're sacrificing a lot, okay? So at least if you're going to do that, have money and put it away so that you can be prepared for the rest of your life, because there's going to be a lot more hardship than you expect. And I think that this is the part that a lot of women miss. Like she said, there are morality clauses. And most of the jobs that women have are in childcare or nursing or, like CNAs, childcare. A lot of that is majority of the women. You can't work with kids. Okay? So even if you look at like NBA players and NFL players, there's about a 70% rate amongst the two. 5 years after their professional careers, these guys have multi-million-dollar contracts. And in 5 years, they're broke. Right? There's an article that came out in it was very recent. I think it was April this year, that says that 60% of millennials that are making over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck, because it's a life. And when you look at a lot of these OnlyFans and these kind of girls that live this lifestyle, they live a very expensive lifestyle. So you have to fund that some way. It seems as though, okay, I'll say it like this. It's not hard to go broke when you're making that much money and you're living paycheck to paycheck. It's very easy to spend that money, and and if you're not putting it in a place that's going to prepare you for the rest of your life, you're not going to have any applicable skills. You're not going to have any applicable skills, and people can choose to not hire you under a morality clause. So you're going to have a tough time when your looks fade and the only thing you have to show on your resume is you had an OnlyFans account when you was 22. And this is from a girl that's successful. This is from a girl that's made $5 million. This is the dream for a lot of these girls, right? Imagine the majority of the women, probably the 98% of women that aren't going to even make this amount of money, but they've already put it all out there for the internet to see. And OnlyFans is closing now. So, like Kevin Samuels said, when OnlyFans shut down, Subway will be hiring. And I couldn't better. That's the best advice. That's something that every woman needs to hear if she thinks that she wants to go into sex work, because it's going to dry up, regardless if it's on OnlyFans, regardless if it's pornography, regardless if it's just your lifestyle dealing with men. When you hit a certain age, the looks are going to fade. So make sure you at least got something if that's what you're going to choose to do. Till next time.